Alright, so we're going out on a limb to try to do this real quick. So what this is about is like circles, which is like the primary theme for, in essence, you know, the Dinky Tech foundation of mindset, if you will. So like making business like like games, like childhood games, in essence, right? So like quickly to try to do this quickly, where you take the essence of a storyboard, which is what like making a movie is like. So then you also take a child's book, which is like the simplest form of media probably, and so trying to combine those two at the simplest form by just having 3 parts, which is the shortest bullet points for a story that you can make, the beginning, middle, and end, and then taking that to the element of you have the demand, which is the first point, and then the experience, and then the product itself. That's the formula for developing the connections from the demand to the supply, in essence. So just in a quick format to just give everybody the power in super quick format to also make a movie and a child's book at the same time, which is IP in a product, just from an idea. So that's like sort of the foundation here. And so like a little concept from a couple days ago that I talked about is like healthy cakes, for example, right? So healthy cakes or healthy cookie dough, for example, like there's already, you know, some of those health food things out there that make the, you know, the bars that are $3 each, or the I call them health sticks. Anyway, right? So that's a thing, that's already a product, proven, etc. But the point being is cakes themselves is a different format, it's a different market, if you will, but nonetheless, you have the beginning, the middle, and the end. So like you take the demand, which is healthy food that tastes good or tastes like desserts even, that uses fruit, that just is made of really good ingredients, that adds value to the body and adds, you know, that's just in high demand, that's obvious. Then the experience is the ability to connect demand to supply. And also it's important to start with demand, not supply. So you have the demand on the one side, supply on the other, when you're trying to connect the circuits to make money, to be able to be rewarded by society for making the world a better place. The experience is it's supposed to taste super good, like, you know, when it does. That's the successful element. Another side to the experience side, number 2, is that it's like marketing. Marketing is, in essence, that's the intention of marketing, is to have that ability to connect those 2 dots of demand and supply. And that's, in essence, the mindset that we want to just be able to develop and transpose into scaling that for other people to be empowered by. And in essence, the fact that it's like a child's book and like a movie, like a storyboard child's book is what I call it. Also circles, aka circles, is that it empowers people to just make movies with an idea, basically with that simple 2-step, 3-step, whatever, I guess, formula technically, but 3-part formula, and like that's about it, you know. Like the last one is the supply. Obviously you're just describing the hero of the story. The experience, like of a health food cake, is also the marketing. That's what I was saying a second ago. It's like the experience is the marketing. Like you're talking about the experience, that's describing like almost like the middle of the story, and then the climax is the hero of the story coming to save the day, which is the product itself, what it's made of, why it's going to work. Basically, why it's going to work equals the product itself. It equals the parts that it's composed of, and that is the hero of the story, because that equals the equation that equals it working, and that equals the facilitating the demand and makes the circuit complete, in essence, in a peculiar theoretical, mathematical, scientific sense, logical, in other words, for all those things to connect. And it makes business like a child game, and child's like you're kind of playing a game where you're making stories like a child's book, and also a movie, which in the most basic sense has that, you know, beginning, middle, and end, which are those components, those 3 core components. So that basic framework, for what it's worth, is just like a concept of putting together the same energy to string it together to make this whole thing of just trying to make it a sharing process for this like mentality to come together in a communal sense, in an ideal sense, with like, you know, just the Dinky Tech, you know, mindset, you know, sort of going forward in this storyboard fashion, so that in essence, you know, obviously that's just about it. It's the intent to make business like a kid game, to make it like games, to make it like being a kid again. So so you have an idea. A lot of people get ideas and they think it's valueless. It's very often said that it's common that it's valueless, an idea, this, that, the other thing. But it's that simple, plugging the idea into that little framework, making a child's book storyboard child's book, so that it's like a movie that's illustrated easily in the form of a child's book. Very simply, based on those three components in that order: demand, meaning the market; the experience, which is the encounter and what it's kind of cheeky for or nifty or interesting for; and then the supply, what it's comprised of, what it's composed of, what all the ingredients equal to equal that product, basically to equal the hero of the story, to facilitate ultimately the working solution, which is in essence, sort of the intended, goal and intention of the story to be complete, yada yada yada, this and that. So whatever, it's just a fun, funky little vlog to just conceptually gamify the nature of business as a whole, so everybody wants to play, also based on like outside of, for extracurricular activity, outside of job status, and like just to hone in on ideas having a lot of value, and just also gamifying and wanting to make people like kids again with the conceptualization of fun, interesting, innovative business concepts, because that speaks to philanthropy energy, that speaks to greater good and greater energy that relates to bettering humanity, bettering people, solving a problem, solving demand in just those three little things, and connecting those dots, and does those multiple things just by plugging in that mindset, if you will, and then trying to scale that mindset and adding items like t-shirts for sale, or like things that you can add to pre-sell on demand. You can actually make the child's book and sell it on Amazon or a different bookstore, right? Like using art or things like that, and then just go from there. It's really just plug and play to different IP, to that conceptual just base idea framework, to make that idea into a product also, and then again hopefully gamify it and make the kid mindset become more propagated, or more functionally alive again with all people all the time, just based on this silly mindset, to continue to push this framework of mentality and just functional ways to look at the essence of business, ideas, quick demand, getting the whole value of that story within just framing and naming and identifying what the circle is to begin with, and then therefore leading to a storyboard child's book, and then therefore leading to it being just like making a game, like and being a kid again, kind of making that like a idea into a gamified storyboard child book type of sense, type of mind frame, type of thing. This didn't have to go for 8 minutes, but it's really just to try to reinforce the intent of the playing business like kids, like being a kid again, type of a thing in the business realm. Also connecting the movie and the venture capital industries simply as that, what I mean? Like making an NFT for that circle, for example, just trying to catch traction for it, putting it into the media, being able to generate, the potential for adding value to that circle, that idea, that framework, that fundamental, energy that's put into the circle as the energy seed, like that can blossom into a business to fulfill that potential demand that's within that circle of that framework, that 3-part framework, just by marketing it, adding value to it, talking to more people, selling people, finding a manufacturer, all these things, and then potentially pre-selling it, just using the mindset, the mind frame, and being a kid about it, not just thinking ideas are worthless and throwing them to the side, but just trying to add traction and momentum to the idea in of itself with various tools to try to it's like making it a franchise kind of before it's even a product, in essence, by having the things that are merchandise, that revolve around a business, for example, like many merchandise pieces that you can sell, to try to pre-sell an idea to begin with. And that's similar to like Kickstarter or other items that are pre-selling of businesses, or that can, it can contribute to a Kickstarter, it can go into a Kickstarter, it can be like a Kickstarter and eventually get funding, because that circle can grow momentum, it can grow awareness, it can grow like a foundational social media page or pages, and then that can grow into greater whatever you call it, like attachable IP, intellectual property, or like meaning like social media posts, or what do you call it, or potential like bank funding, in essence, like in parts or in grants or things like that. So super long extended version of this, which is a little bit unnecessary, but this is a vlog, conceivably a vlog, so for what it's worth. We're gonna see how these all go, but I'm trying to stack some vlogs in the meantime, and this is this one for this for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech Peace, for gamifying and kidifying, to just have the ability to combine those elements, be it movies, as what movie making in a very conceptual, basic sense, combining that with making all people kids again, to be able to play the game of business as kids again, with just that framework, and hopefully that, in hopes that connects all the energies in the right ways, to have the framework template sort of go forward as in terms of helping and making all people into kids again, just by leveraging the biggest game of business that there is out there in the world, so that more people want to play, and it also contributes to humanity and contributes to philanthropy energy coming about as the sort of biggest back-end byproduct of the whole game also, which is sort of the biggest hope and intention that philanthropy energy propagates as the foundational, fundamental byproduct from this type of mindset and game and kidification of the whole business realm and mindset and such things, for what it's worth, to begin with. So that's just hopefully the basic rundown of hopefully that making sense, and that's about it. So hopefully that's good to hear and know and think about, and hopefully it's appreciated somehow to see this vlog and sit through it. I'm trying to move the video to hopefully make it interesting, see some of the background motions and such, but that's it for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech Peace, and Change for Game Studios. Bye.